Dr. Islam, an outstanding entrepreneur, philanthropist, civil activist, thought leader, and his seminal contributions to humanity, Jamia Hamdard considers it an honor to confer upon him this entrepreneur, philanthropist, Dr. Islam, the degree of Doctor of Sciences on this day of October 15, 2019.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Mr. Pro-Vice Chancellor. I'm deeply grateful for your warm welcome and your hospitality. It is an honor and privilege to be here with you students, faculty, staff, and Jamia Hamdard University, and distinguished guests. It is truly a pleasure for me to be here at Jamia Hamdard. I want to also recognize my dear friend, General Shah. Can you stand up, General Shah? He was General Shah was the Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University when I came here with President Obama. I went to Aligarh Muslim University, and he sort of nurtured a long-time relationship with me, and guess what? I gave $2 million, and then I gave another $500,000, and then he said, well, it's not enough. So I said, okay, we'll give you some more. He is a fine gentleman, and thank you very much for your service to my alma mater, Aligarh Muslim University. You are, and Mrs. Shah, please stand up also, because you're always behind him and working very hard. I'm most pleased and honored to accept this honorary doctorate degree with due humility, not for me, but in recognition of all those Hamdard University giants who have made a difference in society through their leadership, education, and public service. Before I begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to express my deep gratitude to the Vice Chancellor, Syed Ehtesham Hasnain, for inviting me to speak at this marvelous, beautiful, and splendid institution. I want to commend the Vice Chancellor for his leadership and for his enduring service and commitment to Jamia Hamdard. We admire and appreciate all you do, Mr. Vice Chancellor, to make a positive and a profound difference. You are making a positive impact and influence in people's lives to provide the broad shoulder upon which we can stand to carry the torch to light the way. Let us give him a big round of applause. I also want to recognize and give my special thanks to my family over here and to Nilofer Shama. Where's Nilofer? Stand up. And Ali Rizvi. Ali, stand up also, a good dear friend. And Asam Khan. I met Asam Khan last time when I was at the February. Please stand up. And we were at the Islamic Center, Sajuddin Qurashi. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it very much. Also, we have the former election commissioner over here. Can you stand up over here to take a bow? As I look at you students in the audience, I see me in you. I see the future of India. I see the future of the world. You are the promise, potential, and possibilities of not only India, but the world. You are the hope of tomorrow. You are the keys to the future of India. You're creating the dream, aspirations, and future of the next generation. You have the capacity, capability, and responsibility to help India achieve its full potential. You can bring an overall positive and profound impact on society. Your education at Hamdard will prepare you to become a change agent, and you can change impossible to possible. You can change unacceptable to acceptable, and you can change irrelevant to relevant. there are no limits for you. If you can conceive it, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. As I look at you, it's almost like peering into a looking glass, and looking into that glass causes me to reflect upon the journey that I have made over several years. As I think about my journey, it causes me to think about your journey to come over the next several years. When I was invited to give this address, I accepted without hesitation. I did so for three primary reasons. The first reason is what this excellent institution has accomplished in the relatively short period of time since it was granted university status. To be chosen as one of the 10 Institutes of Excellence by the Government of India and being the only minority institution speaks volume for Jamia Hamdard's recognition. Having the top-ranked medical school and the #1 pharmaceutical school and highly rated life school is outstanding. I must say what Jamia Hamdard has accomplished to date is truly remarkable. What is more remarkable to me is that you have only just begun. My second reason for being here, because Jamia Hamdard continues to grow, to expand, and add new schools and programs that are responding to the needs of India and of its people. Your vision, which includes providing international quality higher education and undertaking cutting-edge research in order to meet the societal education needs of underprivileged Indian communities, is compelling and inspiring. The third reason is that I understand how important higher education can be in one's life. Education is the gift that keeps on giving. It's a powerful equalizer to lift people out of poverty. Education helps create higher aspirations, and higher aspiration propel individuals and moves the nation forward. As President Obama, a dear friend of me, said, education will be the currency of the 21st century. Education frees the human mind from the shackles of ignorance. Higher education provided me with the basic knowledge, skills, and ability that I needed for employment and success in the business world and as an entrepreneur. It provided me with essential foundation for realizing, attaining, and achieving the American dream. And my story can only happen in America because it's the Aligarh Muslim University that shaped my story, that determined my destiny. Its principle has always guided me throughout my life, whether the time is calm or the crisis. That is what I'm here to talk about, my journey, and also talk about your journey. And I've titled my talks, Thoughts on Education, Empowerment, and Entrepreneurial Leadership, and Civic Engagement. It is structured in three parts. In part one, I will introduce and discuss the concept and the connectedness of education, empowerment, entrepreneurial leadership, and civic engagement. In part two of my address, I will share the major lessons that I have learned on my journey. And finally, in part three, I will address civic engagement in depth because I think that area of the journey for all of us is critical to the future of India and the world. Let me begin by discussing the education empowerment and describe how they are intertwined and go hand in glove. I firmly believe that through education's empowerment in entrepreneurship, you will be able to achieve your full potential. One of the advantages that I had on my journey is my Aligarh Muslim University education. One of the advantages you have on your journey is the education at Jamia Hamdard. You have been enriched, enabled, and empowered by Jamia Hamdard education. Because of the foresight and religious belief of our founders, we have been given a purpose-driven education. And that purpose is to make India and the world a better place. At the establishment of Aligarh Muslim University in 1875, Sir Syed, the founder of Aligarh Muslim University, said that this college shall expand into a university whose sons and daughters shall go forth the length and breadth of the land to preach the gospel of free inquiry, of large-hearted tolerations, and of pure morality. At the establishment of Jamia Hamdard in 1989, the Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi lauded Hakim Abdul Hamid for setting up a learning institution that Gandhi said, and I quote, will enable the minority to go forward and help India to march forward. What a wonderful thing to say from a Prime Minister of India. While the two institutions were founded more than a century apart, they share a common bond and a mission. The bond is faith and belief, and that mission is to make a difference. These two respective institutions do not just produce graduates, they develop empowered individuals. Those empowered individuals come in all shapes and forms. They're doctors, lawyers, teachers, public servants, business people, and the list goes on and on. These two institutions also equip students to do well, but to do good. In that regard, I'd like to share with you what AMU means and has done to me. AMU education gave me a strong knowledge base. It also instilled and infused in me a sense of values which have served me good throughout my adult life. These values continue to be my guiding principles. Aligarh taught me that there is much more to life than one's personal success. These values it helped shape in me include a passion and love for education, eternal optimism about one's hopes and dreams, being collegial and candid towards all, keeping steadfast to standards of excellence, and living in peace and harmony by being tolerant and respectful towards the dignity of each and every one person. I know that Jamia Hamdard has imprinted similar values in you as well. We have been empowered through our education development with both technical expertise and moral rectitude. This combination of education and entrepreneurship is critical because we are living in a turbulent, divisive, and self-centered times. That is why now, more than ever, we need entrepreneurial leaders to step forward. We need leaders who understand that doing the right thing, working with others to solve problems, and giving back is more important than what one accomplishes individually. You should be reminded and guided by the words of President John F. Kennedy, who said, "To whom much is given, much is expected." Our education prepares us to meet this challenge as empowered individuals to be those leaders. Just as education and empowerment are intertwined, so that the concept of entrepreneurial leadership and civic engagement. Let me start with the concept of entrepreneurial leader by defining entrepreneur. What and who is an entrepreneur? There are various definitions. The one that appeals the most to me is the entrepreneur is a person who organizes and manages any enterprises, especially business, usually with a considerable initiative and risk. I like that definition because it emphasizes any enterprise and extends the definition beyond just the business owner. A person can be entrepreneur in any type of organization as long as he or she is willing to step up to the plate and take a leadership role to shape the direction of the enterprise or the portion of the enterprise which he or she controls. In that regard, let me share one other definition that applies. That definition of entrepreneurship provided by Professor Howard Stevenson of Harvard Business School almost 40 years ago. Professor Stevenson said, and I quote, "Entrepreneurship is the pursuit of opportunity without regard to resources currently controlled." In other words, entrepreneurs are not constrained in their thinking, they think outside of the box. So let me combine these two definitions in my own definition of entrepreneurial leader. Entrepreneurs are dreamers who dare. They are seekers who seize the moment and take a calculated risk to create new enterprises or to make their current enterprises better. Taking it one step further, entrepreneurs do the right things. As the old American saying goes, managers do things right, leaders do the right thing. There's an old saying that an entrepreneur is born, not made. Take it from me and my journey. Contrary to the old saying that the truth is the leaders and entrepreneurs are made, not born. You may be born more or less advantaged or disadvantaged in society or economically, but to become and be respected as an entrepreneur, you must do it in the old-fashioned way. You must earn it by doing the right things. Working within that construct, the entrepreneur leader is a person who recognizes that becoming an entrepreneur leader is a journey and invests the time to make that journey in a thoughtful and meaningful manner without taking shortcuts along the way. From all that I have learned, I know that Jamia Hamdard prepares its students for that journey. From personal experience, I know that AMU prepares its students for that journey. My wife Debbie and I recognize that, and that is why we funded the building of the Frank and Debbie Islam Management Complex at Aligarh Muslim University, and thank to General Shah to make that happen. At the dedication of that complex, I stated, our overriding motivation in supporting the management complex is because of the emphasis it will place on preparing the students at AMU to become entrepreneur leaders who will engage in activities that will create jobs and opportunities for thousands of people throughout India and other parts of the world. On this visit, we'll be dedicating an entrepreneurship center in the complex that bears our name to facilitate entrepreneurial leadership and engagement. The entrepreneurial leadership is an aspect of civic engagement. Increased civic engagement is essential from all of us who are concerned about the future of India and the world. The best definition of civic engagement that I have seen comes from a collection of reading titled Civic Responsibility and Higher Education. That definition states, civic engagement means working to make a difference in the civic life of our communities and developing the combination of knowledge, skills, values, and motivation to make that difference. It means promoting the quality of life in a community through both political and non-political processes. As I said at the outset of my remark, I will concentrate on civic engagement later on, but let me tell you a little bit about my journey. I share this story about my journey primarily for the students in this audience, and there are a lot of them here, but I also hope that my thoughts will be of some relevance to all of you for your journey. I share these lessons not because I expect you to imitate my path or adopt my perspective, but because I hope they will be useful as touchstones and frames of reference as you chart your course for the future. So I will talk about lessons from India, lessons from America, and lessons from life. I learned from lessons from India. Growing up, India had an enormous impact and influence on the person I am today. Here, I learned from this country, my family, my home city of Azamgarh, and Aligarh Muslim University. All of those forces shaped and influenced me during my formative years. My country. I love India. I love this country because I was born here, but because it was art, history, music, culture, and rituals. But most of all, I love India because it stands as an international beacon of hope for democracy, diversity, and peacemaking. India's democracy shines as a beacon of light in a world that is becoming increasingly darker. My family. I grew up in a middle-class family. My parents taught me to treat people in the way you want to be treated, give dignity and respect to others, work hard, aim high, and pursue your dream. Do what you can to serve your community. In the neighborhood where I grew up, all of us from different backgrounds and different faiths learned to work side by side because we were bound together in the service of others. I was born and spent the first few years of my life in Azamgarh. Anybody from Azamgarh here? Wow, we got a lot of people here. But I grew up in the city of Varanasi. I treasure the city. I have fond memory of that city. It is where my journey began. It shaped my story. It's a beautiful city and a tolerant city. It is there that I learned about the richness of the religious diversity and respect for other religions. Last but not the least is Aligarh Muslim University. Those are my lessons from India. Now let me tell you a little bit about lessons from America. I shared them because I hope they'll be useful as you chart your own career path. When I went to the United States from India to pursue the American dream, I was not quite sure how I would achieve that dream. I knew even then that being a business owner would be part of it. I also knew that it would mean being apart from my family and developing my own career track with a little parental or professional guidance. That was a daunting challenge. But it was also an opportunity. That is the way I saw it, an opportunity to find myself in America, the land of opportunity. The process of defining myself in America had 5 stages: getting a good education, taking a risk, becoming an entrepreneur, building a strong and talented management team that share my vision and values, and broadening my horizon. I got my bachelor's and master's degree at the University of Colorado. Then I worked with the 2 major information technology companies that gave me the skills and the real world grounding that I needed to be a business owner. Within 13 years, along with my management team, we took my company, the QSS Group Incorporated, from a workforce of 1 employee, that's me, to more than 3,000 employees and approximately more than $300 million in revenue. The team of talented managers was central to everything. Success in business is a team sport. So when you ask me how I became successful, it was not me, but we who made it happen. Success taught me to move forward, and more importantly, failure taught me to never go backward. Thus, failure is the first step to success. We celebrated success, but we treated failure as an opportunity for improvement. From the time I started my business, I knew implicitly that you needed to move ahead, and that if you did not, you would be left behind. My journey was not a straight line. Indeed, there were numerous twists and turns. There were many sleepless nights. What enabled me to prevail on my journey was a belief in myself and those around me and the opportunity presented by the American dream. I am the beneficiary of America's kindness and generosity. It is America's inclusiveness and openness that provided me the ladders of opportunity to succeed. These are the strengths and the values and qualities of America that all of us can proudly and truly embrace. I say to each and every one of you, students, if you have the opportunity to be an entrepreneur, grab it. Find passionate and driven people who share your sense of purpose, share your vision, set the direction, give them all necessary resources, give them space to operate, and then work together to make things happen. Finally, I sold my company to Parole System in 2007. That sale allowed me to establish a private foundation that supports educational, cultural, and artistic causes in the United States, here in India, and around the world. I'm concentrating on community and social engagement and in philanthropic activities by sharing and giving back. In many respects, the process of sharing and giving back is much more rewarding than any of the money that I have learned throughout my business career. So that's my story, my key personal lessons of learning from India and America. My experience in India and America have also taught me lessons from life that I can use to provide advice to all of you, even though it is contrary to my upbringing. But let me give a little advice that's meant especially for you students in the audience. That advice are, do not think anything is impossible. Create your own legacy. Make it your own journey. Do well, but also do good. Take risk. Do not think anything is impossible. If you would have asked me more than 40 years ago, coming from middle-class family in India, could I be able to accomplish what I have? I probably would have said no. I was not certain about where I would end up when I went from India to the United States, but I know absolutely that working hard, aiming high, and getting the right education was the key to success. I'm confident that the same will be true for you no matter where you and your family is currently on the economic ladder. There are numerous stories here in India of the success of the graduates of the modest means from higher education institution. That is why I ask you to think everything is possible. Create your own legacy. Realize that wittingly or unwittingly we are writing the narratives for our lives in the way we conduct ourselves both personally and professionally. Professor Clayton Christensen from Harvard put it this way: think about the metrics by which your life will be judged and make a resolution to live every day so that in the end, your life will be judged success. Make it your own journey. Even though I have shared information about my journey with you, you will succeed by making your own journey. Frank Islam's journey was a Frank Islam journey. Bill Gates' journey was Bill Gates' journey. And Stephen Jobs was a Stephen Jobs journey. My story is testimony to the fact that anything is possible if you make it your own journey. Write your own story, chart your own path, create your own mission and vision, and set of values that are unique to your area of endeavor. Do well, but do good. In making your journey, I'm encouraging you to succeed, but do not forget those who have been less successful. You should extend your hand, your hope, your heart, and your help to those who are less successful, to those who are less fortunate, to those who are socially and economically disadvantaged, and those who are voiceless, to those who are vulnerable. Reach out and help them, and give them the educations and inclusive economic mobility. Help them through their darkest moments of their lives. Please remember, when they succeed, all of us succeed, India succeeds, and the world will succeed. Take a risk. Entrepreneurship is about taking risks, being focused, and being committed. It is about confronting uncertainty with optimism, ingenuity, and creativity. It is about getting out of your comfort zone, venturing into the new horizons, and experimenting new environment. So part 3 of my speech will be civic engagement. Doing well and doing good is part of the civic engagement. When I was coming over here, I was told that I should be talking about the engagement of the Muslims, which I will do. But in my opinion, the best way to accomplish the civic engagement by working through civic engagement to establish a state of interdependence among the people of India and the world. On this Independence Day, I wrote an article titled Celebrate Interdependence on Independence Day, which was published in many, many newspapers in India. In that article, I spelled out the roles of each and every citizen should play and the special contribution that religious leaders, political leaders, business leaders, and civic leaders can do in collaborations. I began the Interdependence Day article as follows. India would embrace and celebrate the richness of religious diversity. Diversity makes us stronger. Diversity brings us together. Diversity is vital in keeping the democracy healthy. When we are together and stronger, we can help shape a better future for India. We need to recognize and celebrate the interdependence of each and every Indian. This risk can be addressed by coming together to promote the unity as one nation under God. By achieving a true state of interdependence, India would become a global beacon of hope for democracy. India would become a role model for other democracies to emulate. If we realize that potential, it will bring about a new dawn of democracy in the 21st century. I close the article this way. I understand that it'll be up to me, up to you, up to all of us as mere mortals to pursue them. We can do that by not looking at the heavens and the gods that we worship, but by looking at the earth and the family and the people that we are. We all have roles to play in that pursuit. Each citizen should engage a small act of kindness by reaching out to those who are less fortunate and who are socially and economically disadvantaged by extending a helping hand and hand up. Some people have a special contribution to make. Religious leaders should promote interfaith dialogue. They should emphasize building bridges instead of building boundaries and barriers. They should bring together followers of different persuasion for meaningful discussions. They should promote a dialogue of understanding and a sense of community with each faith. They should call the attention. The attack on one faith is attack on all faith. When we attack each other, we are tearing apart the harmonious fabric of India. Political leaders should promote the framework of unity and civility. They should ensure that all laws are fair and fairly enforced. They should take affirmative actions to promote an atmosphere of communal peace and harmony. They should promote hope, not fear. They should promote unity, not division. They should bring people together to pursue the common good. They should promote the belief that the future of India rests upon the foundation of inclusiveness. Civic and business leaders should promote collaboration. They should toil together, transcending their creeds to plant the seeds for doing good deeds. They should invest in programs that cut across and eliminate racial, religious, and socio-economic divide. Being here with all of you today at Jamia Hamdard, let me signify the pivotal role that you can play in helping India achieve interdependence. I say pivotal because you influence the studies, students, and society through your good work. Your impact through research, writing, and teaching goes far beyond the walls of Jamia Hamdard. It goes across India, and because of the growth of the Indian diaspora, it goes into the United States, around the world. You are a difference maker, empowering others to make Jamia Hamdard difference. In closing, let me leave you with one final thought, and that thought is to remember and draw upon your Jamia Hamdard root. Jamia Hamdard traces its heritage to Unani medicine. Unani medicine is the means of meeting physical needs and promoting healing. In today's world, with its growing divisiveness and darkness, there is need not just for physical healing, but also for psychological healing and for societal healing. Because of how it has evolved, Jamia Hamdard can bring in the forefront of that healing. I say to all and every one of you, let the healing begin. Thank you for listening to me, and let me share my thoughts. I hope that this will be helpful in your journey. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you.
मिस